What's up, you guys? Welcome back into iHeartRadio's official wrestling podcast, the Battleground Podcast. And, I was scrolling through some text messages, and I got a notification saying, hey, do you have some time to talk to a certain somebody? And I was like, I think I could break away from vacation here in Cancun to talk to a guy that it's been over a year since we've talked to him. Ricky Starks joins the show. Ricky, my man, how are you, sir?
Hold on, wait a minute. Two things. First off, you made time to talk to me. Is that what I'm getting? Okay.
That's what it is. I mean, I can go back and read you the text messages if you want to see them.
Gotcha. Just so everyone is clear, this guy reached out to me to have a interview with me. It's not the other way around. I'm not desperate to have these interviews, that's for sure. And second off, I hope that you are using a good picture in place because I don't feel like turning on my camera right now. So I hope you're using a really good stand-in picture for me.
Maybe we use that photo that they sent us of, Bryan Danielson choking you out with that strap. Maybe we use that photo.
That'd be cool too. I don't have no problem with that. I framed that myself.
Then that's what we're gonna do. So let's kind of go ahead and talk about it. I won't use that photo though, by the way. So you're coming off of a big victory over Wheeler Yuta during Wrestle Dream, and during that match, as everybody was listening to it, Moxley had some things to say about you during the match, including the line that everybody kind of got popped off of. He is pretty, but he's annoying with his mouth. I don't know whether to fight him or take him on a date. But ultimately,
he stole that from Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston said the same thing to me on a Dynamite back in 2021, I think.
And but ultimately, he's stealing people's stuff. I mean, at the end of it, he ultimately puts you over. What were your thoughts on that? Hearing what Moxley had to say about you, and also, maybe just maybe if Moxley came and said, "Hey, would you want to join the BCC? Would you join?"
I don't know, man. I'm sick of groups. I really am. I'm tired of groups. I'm tired of factions. Everybody has a faction. Everybody's in a group. It's so annoying. You know what I'm saying? I would say thanks, but no thanks, bud. I don't want to join the BCC. I don't want to have to walk around wearing those jackets.
You don't like the jackets? You want to put like a little Starkman Jones flair to them?
I could, but there's only so much you can do with a black jacket.
True.
It's just hard, and everyone's bleeding in the group. It's just a lot of blood and the exchange of bodily fluids. It's just a lot for me, man. It's a lot. You know what I'm saying?
And when you think of Ricky Starks, you're not thinking of that kind of persona per se. When you're
I'm too handsome to be hardcore, but I'm also I'm too hardcore to be handsome sometimes.
All right. Well, speaking of the BCC, you recently had a killer match with Danielson where Meltzer gave you your first 5-star match. Congratulations on that. That was a fantastic match, by the way.
Thank you. Seems to be forgotten already, but go ahead.
It's not forgotten, not in our book. It's going to be probably one of the matches of the year in our category when we come to voting for our stuff at the end of this show. But does something like that mean anything to you? Like when you see Meltzer gave you that 5-star, being that as your first, and how did you feel about the match after it was all said and done?
It was cool that Dave thought that highly of my match. That's it's pretty cool. I guess a little cool thing to put in my hat there. Overall, I thought the match, while going into it, I didn't have much expectations. There's a lot surrounding everything leading up to that match, and I guess for me, I just didn't know what to expect. That was my first strap match, obviously, and I really felt like as a competitor, I stood on my own, and that was like, the true, real glimpse of what you had been seeing over the summer on Collision, where you're like, damn, this is it. This is the dude. And I work very hard. I know my style may not be for everybody. I know some people who call me boring, or as a young kid say mid, or but I feel like there's some people out there that do like me, and I'm cool with that. And I work hard in every match that I have, and that match was no different. and I took my fair share of punishment. And I'm glad that a lot of people enjoyed it. I'm glad that people thought highly enough of it. And, the reception that I got, especially from people backstage and people that texted me, was very overwhelming. As the next day, I was very overwhelmed with how it was received, and especially Brian's comments at the presser, where he really gave me praise, and that meant a lot to me, especially as a performer.
Mhm.
You work very hard, and some days you feel like you're up to snuff, and other days you feel like, well, maybe I'm not. But in that moment, in that day, especially the match, and then the stuff after the match, what I did afterwards, I thought it was, how can I say, I thought it was a perfect moment that I can hold on and cherish to.
Absolutely, for sure. And of course,
Nice.
like we said, I mean, watching that match as it's going down, it's like this is a killer match. And my buddy Eli, we were texting back and forth about it, and it's like this has potential match of the year written all over it. And then, I mean, with Meltzer coming out and saying, "Hey, it's 5 stars," that solidified it right there. That's a candidate for match of the year, and we still got a few more months left to go.
Right.
But I mean, you look at it and you think about this. I mean, it's been a year since we've talked to you. You've had a killer year. I mean, you've had some critically acclaimed matches, like we just talked about with the Danielson match, and you've had stuff with MJF. Do you feel you're finally getting the respect you deserved, or are we not there yet?
I don't think we're there yet, but I'm not the type of person that is how can I say it? I'm not wrestling to try to win the respect of everybody, right? I feel like
Mhm.
that is an impossible task. Um, I do feel like this year has been kind of bumpy, as always, and the opportunities that I've had have been good. But it's always about the stuff that happens afterwards, right? And,
Yeah.
and that's a big thing for contention. It's like, all right, let's see how this kind of plays out. Um, I do think some people are like, wow, all right, Ricky is more than what we thought. I'm not saying every match that I have, people are gonna rate it 5 stars or whatnot. That's just not gonna happen. But I would at least hope, if I don't earn someone's respect, at least I have someone who says, one thing he does is he works very hard. He does not phone it in.
Mhm.
Every match, I genuinely work as hard as I can and give it my all.
Right, for sure. And that's the thing, is like, we've followed your career, I mean, for the longest. I mean, when you were in the NWA, me and Eli again on the show was like, that dude is going to be a star, and you have shown it every step of the way, uh
Thank
you
you.
know for everything that you've done. And recently, and it's always fun to just watch, being a fan of wrestling, it's always fun to watch, I guess, how things play out on social media, especially now since we're, I guess, kind of like back in the 90s where it's like flipping back and forth. And recently,
Hmm.
I guess I could say this because I'm a mark, but there was some marks that got very upset at you because you congratulated Jade on her
Yeah,
new day. Can you, I
yeah.
guess, share your perspective on this? Because again, it seems like you're not allowed to have friends outside of AEW. And it seems like the fans want you to hate her for that. Can you like explain from your point of view of like it's not that big of a deal that you're congratulating a friend?
I I I I didn't, I didn't think um, it was a big deal. I still don't think it's a big deal. Uh, I did congratulate my friend for sure. It's no different than any other friend that they, go on and get a job, or, whatever the case may be. Um, it was kind of weird to see
Mhm.
all of that, but I'm not, I'm used to it, because when someone leaked that footage of me at, going to visit Cody, I got kind of the same visceral reaction. I kind of got another visceral reaction when I had thanked Punk for how Punk had treated me, right? I'm
Yeah.
only doing these things based off of my experience with them. It has not. I ignore whatever else. If it don't concern me, then I'm not gonna talk about it or touch on it. So it's weird when people get mad at me or they tell me that this or that, all because I am speaking truthfully and genuinely from my heart. So I didn't understand, and I still don't understand it. And people are gonna make up. People are going to make up different excuses of why that was a bad look or this and that. And me personally, I don't see being proud of somebody for their efforts and what happens next in the next chapter of their life. I don't see that being a bad thing. I never will see it as a bad thing. And I'm not one to try to go on and argue with people about how they're wrong. At the
Mm,
end of the day, people are going to give context to whatever they see me post as. They're going to try to give it some type of background and some type of story to it. And that's beyond me. That's out of my control, and I can't really put focus into it. It was kind of weird to see that reaction for sure. But also too, like, I'm not surprised anymore. Really, I'm not surprised at anything. The
yeah.
amount, yeah, it's just weird.
And it's kind of like interesting to see because you think about it now, and now that we have access to social media, it's like if we could go back in the time machine and go back to the old like Monday Night Wars, how would that be if like social media was a big thing back then as it is now?
That's everyone always makes that comparison, and I think it's not really a fair comparison just because of how society is. Society was a lot different back then than it is now, and I think more than ever, like, you had forums, you definitely
Mhm.
had forums to go and post on, and I'm sure people back then were like, oh, why is this person taking a picture with this person at the airport? Like, we have
Right.
photo evidence of that. We have guys mixing and mingling at a beach, hanging out with each other from respective companies. So yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird to see and read of people who aren't even involved in a friendship. um
Right.
I will ride for my friends. I don't care. People call me a dick rider or whatever, may have you. But uh, to me, these are people who don't have passions or don't know the true, point of a relationship. I have social media. Why not tell people that I love them, that I'm proud of them, um, that I care for them? Why not say that out loud? Why should I have to keep that secret because of scope or because of it just looks bad politically? I had to
Yeah.
go through that when I first came into AEW, where I couldn't say who I was friends with because that was a bad look, or just shit like that. Hey,
Right.
here's newsflash. I like Young Bucks. I like the Elite. I like CM Punk. I like all these people. I like everyone. So this weird tribalism that keeps occurring, it's gonna happen regardless. But to me, it's just, who cares, man? Like, I'm
Exactly.
not a piece of shit. I'm not out here fucking pillaging and killing a whole town or anything. You know what I'm saying? There's a
Yeah.
lot of people that we should be angry about. I feel like I'm as harmless as it can be.
Right. And I think at the end of the day, fans should just be excited because wrestling is fun to watch. Who cares
Yeah,
who's friends with who? We have
right.
wrestling literally on every single day. And if one of them is not your cup of tea, boom, flip the channel and go to the next day.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. It's very simple, but at the same time, you can't expect everybody to have the same type of philosophy and mindset that you may have. And I'm also, I'm a little bit, I've experienced life in different ways than other people have. And so, what my values are when it comes to friendships and these things and telling people or making jokes online is a lot different. Mind you, man, I don't take social media very seriously. Like, I don't really see anything wrong about that. We have people on our roster that openly acknowledge the other side, and that those people don't get nearly as much shit as I was getting that day. It's just very weird.
Right. It's just yeah, it's a very weird thing. So something that's been awesome to watch again because like we just said, wrestling is on pretty much every single day of the week, and AEW has actually become like a major player in the wrestling industry right now. How do you
Mhm.
see the promotion's role in shaping the future of wrestling, and how do you envision your own uh, contributions to that future?
Oh man, my contributions to wrestling. I I don't that's a hard question because of course I would like to think like, hey, when I retire that there'd be uh, a generation of people that go back and watch my matches and they like the small details that I put forth or things like that. I would hope for that. Uh, and that's probably the extent of my contributions that I've thought of. I think AEW in a whole being present and being the alternative to what people have always known is a great thing just because it breeds competition. It breeds newer opportunities for people. It breeds different creativity that wrestlers may have not gotten. It breeds new fans too. There could be a fan right now who's never seen wrestling in their life and is flicking through the channel and sees AEW, or they see somebody that looks like someone that they can relate to, that I look like them, things of that nature. That's cool. Honestly, actually, if any contribution I give to wrestling, it's kids growing up and they can look to me as someone that they can relate to. Because I didn't really have that growing up. When I was watching wrestling, there wasn't really anyone on TV that looked like me that I could be like, oh wow, that's cool, So just that would probably be the extent of it.
Yeah, and that's some great stuff right there. Because I mean, growing up as a wrestling fan, there was a lot of wrestlers that I looked up to, and the fact that my 6-year-old goes to these wrestling shows with me, and he sees all these wrestlers that he looks up to, and he gets into it. So it's great to see something like that. And what you were just saying, and I know your time is very precious, and I have one more question, and then I'm gonna let you go. But I wouldn't be an interviewer if I didn't ask the question: what are your
Okay.
thoughts on Adam Copeland coming to AEW and being in that locker room? And is there a match that you would like to have with him? Of course, that probably answers yes.
Well, the answer is no, because Adam didn't mention my name, so I'm not gonna mention his name, buddy. Uh, there's your clickbait for the day. Um, I think it's a great thing. I think always having new people come and spruce it up and mix it up is always good, and especially people who are eager to try to help. And I think like that can only benefit everybody, obviously. Uh,
Mm.
so I am excited to see the different matchups that he's able to have, within AEW. On top of that, too, like I'm glad that he has his music. I was like, hell yeah, and the entrance. I
Yep.
just think it's very exciting. It's a very exciting time, especially for people who may have fallen out of wrestling to hear that Edge, or I can say Edge. Well, actually, I don't know. Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland is back, right? So
Yep.
I think it's good. I really do. I just need to have a talk with him about the spear because there's only one top dog that uses the spear, and it's me actually, Ricky Starks. So we have to nip that in the bud when we can. It's just minor housekeeping rules when you come in AEW. Don't tug on Superman's cape, don't piss in the wind, and don't do the spear because that's my stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Spear versus Spear, Starks versus Copeland.
You know what happened last time that occurred, right? Two
Yeah.
guys freaking speared each other in the skull and they were out. Okay, so
So we won't
I
do that then. We'll
we
just
won't do
leave it
that.
alone.
Exactly. I don't want to have to, you know, I just don't want to have to spear Edge, or I don't want to have to spear Adam Copeland. All right. I don't want to have to do that because then I'll be hated even more online. And we don't want that, right?
No, we don't. We don't need that. But then again, if something happens, I mean, you just block the haters out. It's all good.
Oh, I don't mind it. I find all of it to be great. It doesn't bother me. Though the spear situation, though, like I said, Edge, Christian, whatever, the biggest spear of them all at AEW is me. I have the best spear.
Well, Ricky, it's been an honor to have you on the show, man. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to talk to us. I know you're a busy person. And just want to say thank you and look forward to seeing you this weekend on Collision, which is live in Salt Lake City at the Maverick Center. You can grab those tickets right now.
Me and Big Bill.
Yeah.
Big
grab those
Bill
tickets.
versus FTR, the greatest tag team there is. FTR, that stands for I forgot. So it's gonna be good.
And definitely get your tickets. You can grab them at the box office, Ticketmaster.com, and everything at AllEliteWrestling.com. Ricky, it's an honor to have you on the show, man, and we look forward to talking to you again soon, bud.
Absolutely, man. Take care. Enjoy your trip in Cancun since you forgot to tell people where you're at.
Shh, we're not supposed to tell people that.
Ah.